Hello and welcome to week 8 of our Destination Cork Summer Series, and to this week's theme are VIP, junior guests and family fun. To date on our summer series, we've talked about food, coastal routes, whiskey, country houses, gin, shopping, art galleries, historical attractions and more food. And we've also touched some really brilliant family focused attractions such as Spike Island and Photo Island of Photo Wildlife Park. But with a few weeks still left in front of us of the summer holidays, we really wanted to bring it back and throw a little light on a few more family friendly activities that we have here in Cork and that we love to recommend to our younger guests. So the list, of course, of family friendly activities here is very, very long. And today we are lucky to be joined by 3 very interesting options, which are sure to be a hit with everyone and ensure some good memories are made while on a day trip here in Cork or staying for a little longer. So welcome to Mary Moynihan from the Toy Soldier Factory, to Rob O'Sullivan from Blackrock Castle Observatory, and to Catriona Fenton from Leahy's Open Farm. So Mary, first to you and the Toy Soldier Factory. This real hidden gem of an attraction is tucked away in the scenic little village of Kilnamartyra, which is just on the outskirts of Macroom. And it's an ideal stop for those coming to us from Killarney or heading to Killarney from Cork. And we're very lucky that we have hotels in both destinations, so we're always recommending a stop to the Toy Soldier Factory en route. The Toy Soldier Factory has been family owned and in operation since 1976. So I'm kind of sharing secrets when I say it's as old as myself. Great year to be established. And there is now a newly renovated visitor centre on site as well. So offering a variety of workshops and live metal toy cast demonstrations every half hour. There is plenty here for the young and old to learn and to enjoy. And while it is still, I believe, one of the only places that you can see tin soldiers being cast in the way they have been since the 17th century, and that's in the world, one of the only places to see in the world to see this happening. If soldiers are not your thing, you can opt to make and paint your own preferred model from fairies, animals, chess sets, and even leprechauns. So it's a hugely creative and hands-on experience, which makes it fun, an interactive experience for the kids as well. So in this setting, they're not just looking and learning, they're actually getting involved with it, which of course makes all the difference. It's interactive and it's something they'll remember then if they get to do it themselves. So Mary, can you please tell us a little bit more about the history of the Prince August toy brand and what your visitors there enjoy most when they come to visit you?
Thank you, Karen. First of all, I think we should take you on here because I think you do a better job here promoting the Toy Soldier Factory than I do. Welcome to everybody. The Toy Soldier Factory, I suppose we're really known as Prince August mainly, but the Toy Soldier Factory was invented about 10 years ago because every local within Cork and Kerry didn't know the brand name Prince August, and it was the Toy Soldier Factory. So we launched the Toy Soldier Factory Visiting Centre. Up to 10 years ago, you wouldn't hear an Irish accent in the Toy Soldier Factory. And then we launched a leaflet that we send to Cork, Kerry, all the tourist attractions, airports, B&Bs, hotels. And then we got an influxation of families. In the beginning, it was kind of a shock. And then from there, then we launched kind of the workshops that they could come in and give live demonstrations to show how a tin soldier at the time was made. And then we find people asking for animals and fairies and all this. So we launched themed workshops. So we have a theme every term, which suits us for the domestic market because families are off school and things like that. And that's our busiest time. So in Easter, we would have an Easter theme. So we'd have Easter bunnies. We have an Easter hunt. And then during the summer, then we would have fairy and fairy doors, soldiers and castledores. And what we found over the last maybe 5 years is that when people want to visit us, they want an experience. They just don't want to walk around and kind of have a leaflet put in front of them or something like that. They want to experience something. And this is where we came up then with the workshops, and we kind of make a little story attached to each of the models. So if we're doing a fairy, we do a fairy contract. So we kind of say, we don't give fairies away very easy here. They have to go into good home. You have to sign a contract. And we do that with the soldiers as well. Like the soldier sits beside the bed and guards the child all night, because we find a lot of families say to us, like, especially moms, that they get out of the bed during the night. So this kind of prevents them from doing that and stays in their room. So it's just kind of a story attached to each piece. And then we have a werebat, which is a dragon, and it protects the house. And so it kind of goes on like that. But what we found over the last number of years is that, well, always 85% of our customers are adult men. And when you come into the visiting centre, it looks very, very family orientated, very children orientated as well. But usually the dads and the mums enjoy participating in the workshops as much as the children do. And we find that the children are running around and the dads and mum are still painting. So with the lockdown at the moment, it's really worked really well for us, because we have a huge area that we cleaned out for the social distancing workshops. And before, everybody could come in off the road, they could book online, and people were scattered everywhere, and we had 3 or 4 assistants and helping. But because of the social distancing, we are booking tables, and it's really, really worked for us that the whole family book a table. It's a bit like a restaurant; they have to book their table, and we find then that everybody gets involved in that table. So we're actually upselling as well with the social distancing workshops. So that's about it, really.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's really good. Actually, when I was doing my research, I was particularly taken by the adults and the painting and the mindfulness aspect of it, that you got really absorbed in your task of painting your solar or your...
And like, you know, if we've got 50 people inside here doing a workshop, there is no noise. It's amazing. You have 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, you know, all ages, grannies, uncles, whatever. And nobody's talking because they're so engrossed. And when we say, you know, are you nearly finished? Your hour's nearly up. Now, we always give everybody nearly an hour and a half, even 2 hours. We don't push anybody off the table, because we want positive reviews when people leave here, because word of mouth is huge to us. And it's amazing how that all you can hear is blow dryers. They say it's so therapeutic. We get a lot of July provisions coming to us as well. So it's really relaxing and really enjoyable.
Lovely. Thanks, Mary. It sounds fabulous. And I certainly know quite a few smallies and adults, myself included, who would really enjoy that. And I really like the idea of the soldier guarding the bed at night. There's also a few smallies I know who could do with that to keep them in place.
But, imagination.
Yeah, it's a really, really great idea. It's lovely. And we'll continue to send loads of people to you.
Thank you.
Going down to Great Southern and Killarney Royal, or indeed coming from there up to us at Hayfield Manor. So thank you very much for giving us a really nice, safe indoor attraction, you know, even though we know obviously people don't necessarily come to Ireland or staycation around Ireland for the sunshine and outdoor activities. We have to be aware that sometimes we do need some nice indoor activities, and that's a really great one for them. So thank you for all the work you put into it. It's great to have it on our doorstep. And another really fascinating indoor activity is Blackrock Castle Observatory. So we're coming back into Cork City now. This is just a fantastic attraction, and we love recommending it. And kind of like, as Mary mentioned now, even, you know, it is good for all ages. Adults and children alike are going to love this. So, you know, if there's a few different ages in the family outing, this is definitely a brilliant one for them as well. So Rob, we'll chat to you now. I've done a little bit of research on it, even though I've been out to Blackrock Castle Observatory a few times, and I love the setting, of course, overlooking the harbour of Cork, and we'll talk about that in a second. But just in reading the whole mission, I suppose, was very interesting for me, and I loved to read that, you know, it's a centre of excellence in science. It's based, as I said, at beautiful Blackrock Castle, and a key mission of the facility is to affect positive change towards and to foster interest in science, engineering and technology in Ireland. So through your activities and your commitment there, what you really want to do is to inspire people of all ages and from all walks of life to experience the wonder of science, which I think is really good. It makes it sometimes, for people, you know, science, it's kind of, oh, that's beyond me and I won't understand that, and, you know, I just don't want to get involved. Whereas this makes it very accessible and very interesting, I think, for people. And we're very lucky, as I say, to have it on our doorstep here. So that can inspire and educate, and it's a really good option, I think, for families of all ages. So you have tailored offerings, I understand, for younger kids and for teenagers as well. So that makes it even better, because it's really tailored. It's properly geared towards certain age groups as well. And they can stay up all night, which I love, at the Planetarium, or they can meet virtual astronauts, which is fascinating, I think, for children and adults alike. and there's a lot to do there. So it's kind of like a scientific playground, I think, with many wonders to behold. So you're the expert on this, Rob. I've only touched on it with my research and my few visits. So you might just outline for us, please, in terms of the offerings that are specifically for very young kids, and then for maybe the teenagers and for the young at heart who are visiting you. And you might also just share a little bit about that really magical setting and how that adds to the whole experience there.
Of course. Thanks for having us, first of all. But first off, the COVID-19 crisis has ever so slightly affected what we can offer at the moment, but in a way it's still ideal for families because we are at the moment booking for family units exclusively. So you kind of get the place to yourself, which is fun. You get a guided tour, you get a lot of attention. Our explainer, Queeveen or Simon, will take you on a personal castle tour. You'll get to see the oldest parts of the castle. It's the oldest active structure in Cork City. You'll get to then move on to some of the more scientific stuff. I'm actually part of the exhibit myself. I'm basically a zoo animal because you get to look into the research labs and see the scientists and the exhibit developers. So it's always fun to be able to wave out the door at the little kids who are looking in at you. The planetarium is probably the big selling point. We have this planetarium software that allows you to explore the night sky, and we'll have a little script that we'll go through and we'll teach you what we think is probably the most interesting and useful information. But then there's some time at the end for you to start asking Queeveen questions and say, can I see Mars? And Queeveen will take you to Mars, or he'll take you to Jupiter, or let you see these different places that you might have imagined but had never had a proper chance to explore. And I think it's, as you said, because we're able to be that little bit more accessible, this stuff can seem a bit scary to people. They don't want to ask a real expert, which is great because I'm not a real expert. I'm actually a zoologist. I blagged my way into this job with references I picked up by watching Star Trek. So it's certainly less intimidating to ask me about astronomy than it is to ask the likes of Stephen Hawking. But yeah, it's a great personalized family experience. We'll slowly start to open up more and more as we feel more confident that we're coping with the COVID-19 strategy in a way that is going to make sure everybody's safe, because that's first and foremost. Then we'll start moving into giving offerings like our summer camps again. So for the very, very young kids, the junior space camps would probably be the most exciting thing. They come in, they do little science experiments, they get to do the planetarium show on the castle tour as well, but they get to take home little experiments with them. Generally takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and they're extremely popular. They sell out quicker than we can offer them. And we've also got a new exhibit that we're building at the moment. So hopefully in the very near future, the start of September, we'll be able to start bringing people in to see completely new sides to Blackrock Castle Observatory. And while it's fun to be able to invite people from all over the world to see that, I'm most excited to be able to offer locals, a chance to see something new in the observatory for the first time in quite a while. And probably the most fun thing you can do here is our open nights, where you can come and hang out in the courtyard with us, and we'll bring out some of the bigger telescopes and let you see these planets and the moon for real. And I've never not heard somebody say, wow, the first time they got to look through a telescope. It's always a magical experience. So if you only ever do one thing with us, I would highly encourage you to come to the castle for one of these open nights. And it is a fantastic location, as you mentioned. What I like about it is the age of the castle. Like, we were getting built right around the time that Galileo Galilei's career was kicking off. So it was only a few years after we were built that Galileo figured out that the world doesn't sit at the center of our solar system. We actually orbit the sun. He was discovering the moons of Jupiter. So it's steeped in history, and that's something I like about astronomy itself. Is it's really time travel. Like, if you're looking at a galaxy that's millions of light years away, you're looking at the past because the light has taken so long to reach you. It's quite magical when you give yourself time to think about it.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And even though you say you blagged your way into it and you're not an expert, I doubt that very much, firstly. And secondly, I believe you won a very prestigious inaugural award for your communications in science. So I think they're in good hands when they are with you and learning from you. So congratulations. And yeah, I think it is magical. The setting obviously is spectacular, but the work you do there and the thought now of a new exhibition from September onwards is fantastic, because it means that, locals obviously who've been there no doubt numerous times, can go back and there's something new for them on the horizon. And of course, we're all fans of progress and refurbishments in the hotel and updating and keeping forward thinking. So that is really great to hear. I love the idea of those open nights. I think I am going to drag my dad along. He is obsessed. Every night he actually goes out, looks up at the sky to the stars and the moon. We bought him a mini telescope a few years ago as well, so he could get a better look. But I think you might have a few better models there, so I might bring him there someday soon. So it's great to hear you do all of those things, and it really is lovely. It's lovely to have a good mix of activities for children, like on the scientific front where they're learning, and it's educational and it's also fun there. So we're really, really lucky. So thank you very much, Rob, for that. And then from science, we're going back to, well, the outdoors, but with lots of indoor fun activity as well. So we're going over to yourself, Catriona, in Leahy's Open Farm. And the last few weeks on our Destination Cork series, we've been over and back to East Cork, because there's just so many things over there for us to do and recommend. And Leahy's Open Farm over in Dungorney, just outside Middleton, is yet another one of these fantastic surprises, and one that we like to recommend for our families. It's a really fun day out, I think, for people, and for people visiting with families from cities and who live in more urban locations. Obviously it's even more fun, because they're out on a working farm and they're getting to see all of the animals, but there's loads of fun activities for them as well. Like ourselves and like Mary and the team at the Toy Soldier Factory, Leahy's is a family owned and run entity. And like ourselves at Hayfield Manor, I believe they're now into the second generation running the show there, and they're also into their third decade of operation, which is something to be very proud of, like we are. So it's great. It's gone from strength to strength since opening it as an open attraction over 20 years ago. And a glance at the very, very colourful website gives a great idea of the variety. There's a huge array of things to do there. I think, if I just remember a few of them now, crazy golf, there is the quad and barrel train, there is kart racing, there's a maze, there is, oh yes, my absolute obviously favorite, in keeping with my addiction to food and all things sweet, an ice cream factory and a chocolate making factory. So when I saw those words anyway, my heart obviously lit up with joy, as I know all small visitors to the farm, when they see that, must be super excited. Catriona, can you share a little bit more with us, please, about, I've only kind of touched them there very, very briefly, but we haven't even got a chance to talk about all the farm animals that you have for people to interact with. But can you please give us an outline of all your indoor and outdoor activities, and what do visitors to you love the most, apart from the ice cream?
Yeah. So I suppose Eddie and Eileen Leahy opened the farm in 1996, so it'll be 25 years open next year. I think I'm probably one of the few people that is just a blow-in and no relation at all, but they've adopted me. But the farm has really gone from strength to strength. When Eddie and Eileen opened it, it was opened more or less just as a farm museum. So Eddie and Eileen spent years collecting vintage machinery, antiques, and so on. So it was primarily just the museum, which is still there today. And you'll see, like, if anyone visits the farm, you'll see all the different vintage machinery and artifacts, let's say, all around the place. And the museum itself is open. But that would be one of our indoor attractions. Another one of our big indoor attractions is the ice cream and chocolate factory, of course. And we opened that, I'd say, 2 years ago now. And in there we make our own ice cream, Leahy's Open Farm ice cream. And we're delighted to now be stocking that in Youghal, Super Value, and also Sage to Go in Middleton. So our 3 flavours there are honeycomb. You can pick those up and hopefully into more Super Value shops as well. But in there you can do chocolate lollipop making. There is also chocolate courses where you can make your own mold, and we also do chocolate workshops. So you can book those online on our new website as well. But visitors to the farm, even if you don't pre-book, they can do chocolate lollipop making, and kids love it. It's really hands-on, and They get to learn a bit about chocolate and everything. And even when you go into the chocolate and ice cream factory, the kitchen is quite open. So even if you're just at the counter ordering your ice cream or your crepes or your waffles, you can see into the kitchen. You can see Joanna or Sandy making ice cream or making chocolate, and it's just really fun and it's really open, and they love talking to people about it and explaining more. I suppose prior to COVID, we were doing daily milkings with Maisie the cow. Maisie is the cow where we get the milk for the ice cream, and I suppose it's really, as you said, like families from more urban areas, they would never have seen cows being milked, or a lot of children didn't even know that where their milk really came from. So it's really, I suppose, important to us to show the whole farm to fork element, where food comes from and how it's made, and I suppose gives children a bit more insight and respect for where their food comes from. And it's always fascinating when you see kids from city and urban areas coming and they see like a cow for the first time, or they walk on a little bit further and there's pigs or alpacas. There's loads of different animals as you go up and walk around the farm. People kind of ask what is that there to do on the farm, and you'd be there all day listing everything, because every corner you turn around there is something different, completely different. I suppose there's numerous playgrounds, there's climbing frames, obstacle courses, the maze. We've quite a large maze. There's a fairy fort, zip line, crazy golf. We have the Jcb Diggers. So we have 4 real 2-ton Jcb Mini Diggers. And so the slew and the tracks are turned off, so you can't like spin the Jcb or turn the tracks or anything. They're stationary in one place, but the kids can work the arms on them, so they can dig, they can hook ducks, they can do like 10-pin bowling with them. And to be honest, the happiest, most excited person, as Mary was saying, like from the Toy Soldier factory, was like a 30-year-old man from Bandon, and it must have been his lifelong dream to work at JCB. It's always funny, like, because I'd often work on the entry or the booking desk, and the fathers come in and they're like, "Oh, and are the diggers going today?" And you just know, like, it's not for the kids they're asking, but yeah, no, that's a big, huge hit. But I suppose, like, along with that, then there's the quad and barrel train ride, and we've extended the track for that, and they can go out around the woods with that. There's a big drop slide, so it's a big Alcathene pipe, and my grandmother has gone on it and she absolutely adores it at 80 years of age. So it really is like, it's fun for all ages. But I suppose no matter what we add and no matter how advanced what we add gets, like the biggest hit will always be petting time.
Yeah.
Petting time with the animals. It was a bit worrying for us with COVID, because the biggest seller with that, or the biggest like what people loved most about it is the interaction with it. And I suppose with COVID we were kind of worried, like how would we work it, and we didn't want to ruin it. You know, if people had come before and loved it, we didn't want them to come again and be disappointed. But what we're doing now is we're doing a one-way system in and out of the petting shed and giving them their own individual bags of feed, so they can still feed the animals and touch some of the animals, but it's just not quite as close contact with our staff as it would have been. And then there's also the indoor farmers fun house. It's an old pig shed, but it's been adapted into a little go-kart track, little climbing houses and castles and stuff like that. There's Eddie's old cottage that Eddie himself was born in, and he reared 4 of his 6 kids in, and he loves doing storytelling in there, and we would have done bastable bread baking there over the open fire. So, like, as you can see from the wide range of things, you know, a child of 2 will have a great time, and you could bring your granny and she will absolutely, like, I'm first-hand advocate for bring your granny. Like, my granny absolutely adores it. She comes all the way down from Rathmore. But then we also have our coffee shop, and we do different food specials there, and little seating area, and then there's the gift shop. So there's, I haven't even really gone into much detail about everything individually, but there's just so much to do with the farm. We've been very busy the last few weeks now. I suppose everyone's down on holiday, and I think after being locked up for a few weeks, rain, hail or sunshine, they don't want to be staying in a hotel room with their kids. So
Yeah.
no matter what the weather, we are busy enough. So we have had to implement online booking, and we do ask that people book online before they come out to see us. So they can do that on our website, www.leahysopenfarm.ie, and if they have any problems, questions, queries, I'm always on the Facebook page. I'll reply to messages, or they can email us or call us as well. But we're always kind of there to help, and I suppose even the members of staff that aren't family members, we want to treat it like everyone is our family. You know, it's a family-run enterprise, and AD's still around the place, and AD, if you see him, will more than likely come up to you and ask you where you're from, and he'll know someone from there and ask you all about it. But
we love that game. That is a great game to play. Where are you from, and who do you know that I know?
Yeah, exactly.
We play that all the time. Yeah, it's great.
It's an Irish thing. It's such an Irish thing. But
it's great. It adds to the experience that the owner is talking to you and chatting, and is very invested, and that's very much like our own hotel as well. We're not all family members, but we feel like we're part of it, and our guests are part of it while they're with us. So, you know, it's very much similar situation. Yeah. So it's great. We're so lucky to have so many family-owned entities around us, and so many fascinating things for families and visitors to Cork to do. We're really, really blessed with that. And we will continue to recommend them all over the coming few weeks of the summer, and then of course into the autumn, because I know there's loads of Halloween themed things and different things on into Christmas as well. So there's plenty to do at all times of the year in all of these attractions. Now, as every week, we like to get a little more information out of our friends and partners before we let them go with a quick rapid fire 3 favourites. So we'll come back to you quickly, Mary. In addition to the hugely popular Tolkien and Lord of the Rings models that you sell in your lovely gift shop, can you please share with us your top 3 Irish, or preferably Cork themed models that visitors like to make or to buy when they're with you?
Okay, so I suppose our number 1 top seller of all times is the Fairy and the Fairy Door workshop. The nice thing about them, we're calling them the Irish fairies, because you can paint them any colour you want. So we have some people going bright green with them and all that. Our second favourite would probably be our latest one, which is our Cork football player. But again, we call him the Cork football player, but then he could be a Kerry player, or he could be a Dublin player, or he could be a soccer player. And that's, again, nice about the models. You can paint them any colour you want. And probably the one that we sell the most from the visiting centre would be the big man himself, Michael Collins. We have him. You can't make him, but you can paint him. And also our Irish themed chess sets, which is the Battle of Clontarf, or the Celtic Irish Legend chess sets. They're probably our top favourites of to buy and take home with you. So that's about it, really. So you can, like I said, you can paint them any colour, so you can use your imagination and be as inventive as possible with them. We had great fun last year when Kerry and Dublin were playing the semi-final, and we had a load of Dublin families in, and we had a load of Kerry families in, and the Kerry families were playing the Kerry colours of the footballer, and the Dublin. And you know, the nice thing about it's probably with all different counties around Ireland, but you know, we can take the banter, and so we've great old crack with that. So like I said, we've themed ones, so you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, it's great, and they're a nice gift idea as well. As you say, the chess sets sound lovely, so if people are visiting Ireland and they have people back home from wherever they're coming from, to take something like that back is very unusual. Exactly. And a really nice idea. And of course, if they're all
metal, and they're all hand painted, so if you drop them on the ground, they can't break. So it's very unique and very, very different, and
very nice.
That's what the Toy Soldier Factory is, and that's the experience we give to families as well. It's very unique, very, very different, and hugely enjoyable.
Yeah, and a travel-proof gift. It's not going to break in your suitcase on your way home.
Exactly.
I like it. So, Rob, we'll keep it science-based for you. Do you have 3 favourite Irish, preferably Cork, but we'll take Irish, scientists that help you keep things current and keep attractions like the Blackrock Castle Observatory popular with the younger generations?
Absolutely. I'm actually spoiled for choice because we're part of Cork Institute of Technology, which will obviously be the Munster Technological University very soon. But we have an active research team right here. I'm a stone's throw away from a scientist at any time. So the whole CIT team are doing a lot of cool research. So in terms of keeping stuff current, they sort me out. Niamh Shaw, Dr. Niamh Shaw is another favorite of mine. She does a lot of science outreach. She has a STEM background, but she's more of a STEM artist these days. But she's done really cool things like Mars analog missions, which is where you head out into the desert and you live inside these little weird domes, and you basically act like you're on the surface of Mars, and you can't go outside without a spacesuit and all this kind of fun stuff. And my other one, she's not helping keep things current by any stretch of the imagination because she's sadly no longer with us, but Agnes Mary Clerk would have been an astronomer from Skibbereen, and she has a crater named after her on the moon. So she was a big time astronomer and in her day, and it's a point of pride for Cork. If you go to the South Mall, near the Bank of Ireland, you can actually see her painting done by the Mad About Cork crew, or the Reimagine Cork crew, I think they're called now, commissioned by us. So you can see what Mary looked like, and it's a fun little Easter egg hidden around the city.
Wow, I did not know that. I didn't know about her either. So it's a learning curve for me today, and I'm a big fan of, Cork women and their promoting their achievements and all of that. So I'm definitely going to look her up and find her on the South Mall, or her picture on the South Mall. So thank you very much, Rob. And I've met Niamh Shaw as well in the past. I think she is a fantastic woman. She is brilliant, really, really impressive, I have to say, what she's doing. So we'll continue to follow her along. And of course, all of the gang at CIT. You're lucky to have so many enthusiastic scientists at your disposal there to keep you current and keep you informed. And Catriona, you'll probably guess the question I have for you, because I'm so obsessed with food and with ice cream. What are your 3 favorite flavors that you either make there or in general, but preferably that you make there?
So I suppose we make so many different flavors, and it kind of changes by season. At the minute, as I said, we're stocking the chocolate, vanilla and honeycomb in Super Value and Sage to Go. And I suppose honeycomb is one of my favorite. It's lovely, like there's real chunks of honeycomb in it and caramel through it, and it's so sweet and it's so lovely. So that's one of my favorites. Second favorite now for me would be the Ferrero Rocher one. I love nuts and I love Kinder Buenos, and it's lovely. There's just little crispy bits through it and a bit of a nutty flavour to it. And then my third one is kind of controversial. We only do it at Christmas, so every Christmas I get tubs of it, but it's the Mince Pie Ice Cream. So you have the actual mince filling from the mince pies going through it, as well as the short crust pastry as well. So like every bite is just, you could get a bit of the mince, or you could get a bit of the pastry, and it's like, I love it. Now you'd either love it or you hate it, but I absolutely adore it. It's dangerous to have all around at Christmas for me. I just adore it. Yeah.
Well, you're good at marketing it anyway, because I now want a tub, even though we're months from Christmas. But I quite happily dig into a tub of mince pie ice cream right now if it came my way. So and I think I'd have to go slightly out of my way over to Super Value in Middleton now for the honeycomb one. I like the taste, I like the sound of that as well. So that might be on my shopping list next time. So thank you very much. Absolutely delicious. And thank you to all of you here today, to our friends and our partners at these wonderful attractions. We're so lucky to have them. People do come to a city to do things and to experience things. We're lucky that they stay with us, but we need to have the support of really good, safe and friendly attractions for our visitors to Cork. So we're lucky to have so many. And huge thanks to the Toy Soldier Factory, to Blackrock Castle Observatory and to Leahy's Open Farm for joining us today and for providing us with so many nice options to recommend to our visitors. And thanks also to you for following our Destination Cork series when you get the chance to watch us. Join us again next week for our feature on Blarney Castle and Gardens. So I come to you live every week from the grounds of Blarney Castle and Gardens, because I'm lucky enough to currently live here. And next week, we're actually going to do a tour. I'm going to leave the comfort of my kitchen table, and we're actually going to do a tour of the grounds and talk to Paul, the marketing manager here. We might even kiss the stone. So not that I really need the gift of the gab. You can probably tell I talk enough already, but you know, while we're here, we might as well get involved. So we hope to see you next week, and thank you very much for joining us. Bye-bye.